Ooby-doo, it's everyone's favorite boomer and vintage lens enthusiast. And today we're going to discuss the Nikon DX AFS Nikkor 18 to 300 millimeter of 3.5 to 5.6 GED, made in China. It's on the venerable Nikon Z50, which in itself is a nice camera. I got it because I have a lot of vintage glass, and you know what? I like vintage glass. I want to buy one or two more modern Nikon glass to see what's up, and I'm a little disappointed in this lens. Ooh, look at that. It does go 18 to 300 millimeters. It focuses very close. It's got VR, which you can shut off and on. It's got the autofocus. You go auto or manual. You could lock it, but I haven't had it really zoom creep while I was carrying it. So I went to the park on the 19th of December. It was like 30 degrees out, or maybe 29 degrees out, 9 o'clock in the morning. And it was right after, a couple days after a big storm, and there's a lot of water, and there was ice. And I was really hoping for this thing to pull through, but the autofocus was spotty. Now I know I have to take like 3 shots to make sure I get one good one. Although I did make some adjustments for the future. I put it on, well, let's look and I'll show you what I put it on. Menu. AF Fine Tune. It recognizes this lens. 18 300 3.5 5.6 VR. It recognizes it. I had to go to +6 to fine tune it. What else did I do? Here it is. There's too much stuff in this menu. I hate to say that. I turned all these things on for the future. Focus mode, AFS. And in the future, I went to AF area mode, wide, to see if that helps. Because I noticed it was picking, even though I had a point autofocus, it seemed to be picking the wrong spot. And so that's why you gotta move your composition a little bit and pick another spot and see if that helps. So you really have to review your pictures, and then you can get rid of the blurry ones right away. Now, between 18 and 28, it seemed a little soft sometimes, but then it seemed sharp other times. You get your best results between 28 and 250. 300 is capable of really sharp stuff, but I was getting a lot of shake failures, like a 80th of a second, 125th of a second. Was the VR working? I don't know. I can't say. But between like 250 and 20, even at 18, but if VR doesn't work at 18 millimeters, I don't know what to say. So it looks to me like you have to use fast shutter speeds. I always had the ISO at 800. I was trying to use 1.320, 1.400, 1.500, 1.800, 1,000. But you think with VR, you could get away with like something in the 200s shutter speed, but this is the results I was getting. Now, was it because it was like 30 degrees out? Was the thing laying idle and it needs to be, work through its motions a little bit? I can't say. I'm going to do another photo shoot with this in a town instead of in the park and see if that makes any difference. And it's going to be warmer on that day. It's going to be at least 10 to 15 degrees warmer. And so I'll have to see how that pans out. But for now, I went to the park. This camera did take some nice pictures, but I went pixel peeping. There are definitely a lot of blurry failures. Some look like the autofocus picked the wrong spot, and in others it looked like the VR wasn't working. So I'm a little disappointed in that respect. But then, the next picture, boom, it was perfect. So that was like really wigged me out, and so high ISO, but 800 is like nothing on this camera. I'm sure I could run it at 1,000 or 1,600 so I could get maybe stop it down and use a faster shutter speed, and that would help solve some issues. But VR and a 300 millimeter, well, you expect it to like maybe why not get at 1/80th of a second or 1/125th of a second. I mean, it was bright sunlight, and I couldn't figure out how the metering was working either, because some pictures were shooting at 1/500th, and the next one was at 1/80th of a second. So I'll have to poke around and play with that. But for now, you can look at the pictures. I did the usual, where I did full frame 16:9 crop, shrunk it down to fit the screen, and then it did a 1920 by 1080 crop, a 1:1 crop, so we could see some detail. And those are generally called B. Like there'll be an A picture, and then there'll be a B picture. If I didn't take a B picture, it'll say 1:1 crop or something like that. So, but this was sort of an expensive lens. It's like over $200. And all right, I have to use the FTZ adapter. And does that have anything to do anything? Sure, I guess Nikon wants you to run out and buy a bunch of Z glass, but they're way more expensive. And what the everyone's favorite boomer and vintage lens enthusiast says: don't buy new, buy used. But it's questionable of whether I could recommend this lens or not because of its spotty performance. So be prepared to see another photo shoot with this thing, but in the city. And then that'll be the deciding factor. Is this going to go on the shelf, or this end up as a prop here, like this piece of crap, or am I going to use it? So let's jump right into pictures. There are some videos. The park was swollen with water, and there's like a raging cataract where the stream was. And I'm going to put up a warning screen to turn your volume down. That's at the end of the slideshow. And I just want to say that the camera does not have in-body stabilization, but it does have image stabilization for movie mode. It's a 20 megapixel camera, and movie mode is 1920 by 1080, so there's a lot of extra pixels around for this thing to stabilize your videos. But was the in-body which was taking precedence, the VR in the lens or the VR in the camera? Like, does the lens, is it active all the time, or is it like only for, like, say, when you're taking a still picture, it snaps in right when you press the button and that's it? But the jiggles, it does take care of the jiggles, especially the boomer jiggles in movie mode. I gotta say that's fantastic. So let's jump right into the samples, and you got your own opinion. Am I saving you money, or you want to take the plunge and get this lens anyway, or whatever. So let's jump into pictures. You tell me. The NIKKOR 18 to 300 millimeter, 3.5 to 5.6. It's got VR. I mean, that's the reason I bought this lens. And it was they call it the street sweeper because you could go from 18 to 300, so it's a sort of a super wide to a long telly. It's supposed to be many things, but does it do it well? I don't know. It's spotty. I got spotted results. You see, I went to the park, bright sunny morning, shooting ISO 800, a lot of fast shutter speeds, different apertures, within an hour range. F14 was nominal, but a lot of different shutter speeds. And it seemed to me that between 25 and 250 millimeters, it's a great lens, and it worked pretty good. Sometimes it seemed soft at the wide angle end. Other times, you could get a really great shot at 300 millimeters, and the next shot didn't come out so good. Is it capable of doing excellent, sharp results? Yes, absolutely, without a doubt. It seemed well controlled with flare and aberrations and all that stuff. But then again, I got a lot of failures. A lot of pictures that I couldn't keep that I wanted to keep because the autofocus was picking the wrong spot. Now I'm adjusting some of the parameters, but still, it's this learning curve. When I slap any lens on say the Canon DSLR, especially a Canon lens, boom, you just go out and shoot, and that's it. So I'm sort of a little bit upset. This is pricey used lens. I think it was like over $200 or something, in excellent condition. And I seem even more expensive than that. And oh, and it's a DX lens. You can only use it on crop sensor. That's the Z50 or any F-mount lens that is a crop sensor. If you put it on a full frame DSLR or mirrorless camera, Nikon goes into DX mode. So, I thought I wanted it to work, but, does it work? Yes, it works, but not as good as I thought it would be for the reputation of the company. Some of these pictures are really nice. There's no doubt about it. Some of them are really, really nice. And I really liked them in the way they came out. Others, not so much. Now, it could be the Z50. I don't know. This is a complex picture. These reeds were all in a row. Some were closer, some were further away. So what was the autofocus picking, And then, but F14, looks like I should have stopped on the F22 to get some more depth of field. So it was probably somewhat my technique and using it. I'm used to the Z50, but I wasn't used to this lens, the 18-300. So some of the pictures I'm very satisfied with. Other pictures, not so much satisfied with. So I'm just throwing them all out here, and you can look at them and, make your own decision. What do you think about this lens? Now, I was having trouble with these red berries. It wasn't focusing exact. These are all 1:1 crop. I cropped this out of the 20 megapixel and just slapped it in the picture here. And I just don't know what to think at all. This picture looks blurry to me. It's 1:1 crop, and how come it looks like it's a look at 1/25th of a second, and it looks like the VR didn't compensate. Same thing with this one. I'm not sure the VR compensated or did something. So I'll have to study it more and see what it's all about. Canon zoom lenses, they just seem to work better. But, it's a native mount. It's an EOS mount, and they're EOS cameras. These are all Nikon F mounts, even though they're all G lenses, which means they're more modern. But I had to use the FTZ adapter, and I don't know if that introduced any variabilities. This is a blurry picture. I'm upset because I want it to be sharp and, great and all this other stuff. But, some of the pictures came out tack sharp. Excellent. So that's the thing. I was running the barrel back and forth from, wide angle to telephoto and, focusing from near to far. And maybe it just didn't like the cold weather. I can't say. All plastic. I didn't think there would be any, differential expansion, but maybe the delicate electronics didn't like it or something. Now, there's no doubt that I like vintage lenses, and I got some excellent Nikon vintage glass that is stunningly beautiful. But, this I just don't know what to think. I just don't know what to think at all. So here's the results here. You could study them. These are all refraction and diffraction patterns of melting ice and like maybe a half inch of water. So these came out reasonably well. The colors and the tonal graduations are beautiful, in that respect. But, you want something in focus when it's supposed to be in focus. And some of them did come in focus, but some of them didn't. So I'm going to do some more studies with this lens. I'm going to post the results in a future video, and you can check it out. And, I have a funny feeling this is going to be like a backwater lens for me. I'm not going to use it too much. And, I have plenty of vintage glass to use instead. Here's a perfect example. Here's a 1/400th of a second autofocus at infinity, and the detail just didn't look sharp there. What was with that? I wasn't in the sun wasn't hitting the lens, but it just didn't come out crisp and sharp. Although I like the tonal range and the color range, but it seems to me on digital cameras, you get less depth of field than what you used to get with film. Of course, digital cameras probably got more pixels, and it's just something I noticed. Where I'm used to f8 getting more depth of field, no, it seems much more narrower for some reason, because it magnifies it. It's like the circle of confusion is more confined. Like if you look at the grain of film, the film is blocking some of the blurriness or the sharpness of the pictures. So I don't know what to say. Here's a picture. I was hoping this would come out better, but it's slightly blurry, ever so slightly blurry. Here, this is a shake failure at 1/250th of a second, which made me upset. 300 millimeters, 1/250th of a second. Here's another shake failure, 1/80th of a second. Well, maybe I could see that, but it's a lot of these pictures. I think it was a combination of autofocus, not picking the exact spot I wanted, and a little bit of the VR, vibration reduction, not working. And here's another perfect example of a shake failure. Now, it could be that I noticed it happened in a lot of shots with the water, that maybe the VR was picking up on the water or something like that. So I'll just have to take some more different static pictures, like at a city. Look at this, is totally blurry. And that's from VR. So you had to do at least 1/200th of a second if you're at 300 millimeters. And then, I just don't know what to think. Now, like I said before, I have one photo shoot. I'm going to hate this lens. No, I'm going to have to go somewhere else and take another photo shoot and see what it's all about. Here's 1/1000th of a second. And this is a 1:1 crop. Oh, I like this picture. It came out really good. The ice was nice and sharp, and the bubble detail. And it looks like, well, if you have a lens in VR and you have to use a 1/800th of a second, well, I don't know what to say. As opposed to some Canon glass I have that seems to work much better. I have a Tamron lens that I bought cheap. It was just a cheap lens. I want this picture to be perfect, like how blurry it came out. But it's a 1/80th of a second. Here's 1/100th of a second. I don't know. So I have this Tamron lens. I bought it brand new for $200. It's always like $40 off, and I have it on a Canon mount. It's an APS-C type lens, and once the thing locks in, you press the shutter button like halfway, you can see the image is like bings in, and you take your picture, and it's always sharp. And I bought it brand new for $200, and here's a used lens I bought for slightly over $200. But Nikon's supposed to have this reputation over Tamron, but Tamron's a contender. I mean, they're both made of plastic, so. You may say, "Oh, boomer! Everyone knows you always say you're a Canon guy and you're just bashing in on Nikon." Well, I love their cameras. Their Z cameras are great. Their older lenses are fantastic. There's no doubt those old school all metal lenses, they're the best. And I got a couple of them. I really like them. But these newer lenses, I just don't know what to think with these newer lenses. And like I said, some of the pictures came out nice and sharp and cool and everything. And then this came out not as sharp and blurry. So, it's... well, moving forward, I know I'm going to have to always take a couple of shots of a subject to make sure everything's working. And then sometimes when it's cold and it's bright sun, it's really hard to review your pictures out in the field, and so that's why I'm going to like this, take a lot of pictures I'll have like, and if they both come out good, then I could, put them on different sites, like Unsplash or 500 Pix, PX, 500 PX or something. So some of the pictures came out great. I really liked them. Others that just had technical difficulties. Ancient astronauts built these walls. Human beings have nothing to do with this. Human beings are totally stupid. You know, just look at your fellow human beings when you're walking around the street or in a store or something, and to think that they have built, fantastic stone walls hundreds of years ago or 1,000 years ago. No way. No way at all. Now, ice is so ephemeral and it's transitory. And, in the winter, oh, sure, it's possible to get 6 weeks of icy cold weather and you just get tired of ice. But then was the climate change, quote unquote. You get a cold snap and you'll see all this cool ice. And then a week later, it'll warm up and it'll all be gone. So, now, I appended some movies onto the end of this slideshow, and you're going to have to tone your volume down because it's a thundering cataracts, and you don't want to freak out when it happens. So just keep that in mind. Just to let you know, it's only fair. Now is the time to adjust your volume lower.